Hello and welcome to Following On. I'm Jon Norman at Old Trafford, Emirates Old Trafford, alongside Steve Harmison. The play has just come to a close. Bad light bringing an early end to proceedings on day one of the fourth test here, and another keenly fought day. We're going to go through all of the action. A first session that belonged to India, a second session that belonged to England, and a third one which was kind of shared, I suppose, if not for a moment of real drama. Let's start with Rishabh Pant. You know, he was alongside Sudharsan, one of three changes from India, who had batted really nicely, made his way up through the 30s and 40s, and then essentially Rishabh Pant was playing one of those shots that only Rishabh Pant plays. He attempted a sweep against Chris Woakes. It was a full delivery, and it hit him square on the side of his foot. England went up for the review. They thought it was out LBW. It wasn't. He'd hit it. But essentially, whilst all that was going on, Rishabh Pant was on the floor and in clear distress, in a lot of pain, and reacting like a man that knew something bad had just happened to his foot. TV cameras picked up on it. His sock and his boot came off, and suddenly we're thinking, uh-oh. Huge lump just on the side of his foot, on the outside bit of his foot, near his little toe. The swelling was immediate. It looked like there was a bit of blood there as well. Stretcher was called. The reaction from the medics, or the physio, or whatever, the medical team, was, we need to get this guy off the field. And he was taken off the field. Harmy, your thoughts on that moment? And we don't know the severity of the situation, but there is a doubt about whether Rishabh Pant is going to bat again in this series, let alone in this innings.
Yeah, it was a huge moment in the innings because him and Sudharsan were going really well. It's a huge moment potentially in this test match because that didn't look good, and the ramifications of that not looking good. It's not like a hamstring injury, a groin injury, or a calf injury where you potentially could stand at one end and not move. He's not going to be able to stand on one leg and bat. I just don't think that can happen. And if he is out for the rest of the test match, with a back-to-back test match and another one starting next week on Thursday, with the finger injuries already had, that could have a huge ramifications on what happens in the series. Because, I mean, let's be fair, he has been a thorn in England's side from the minute he's got off the plane to getting to Headingley all the way through to here. It didn't look great. It looked as though it broke the skin. It looked, when I've just seen it again there on the replay, he's wearing the manufacturer he wears and the shoes that he wears, the stripes across the front of it seems to go where actually the ball's hit. So I just wonder if the inner stitching of the shoe has, obviously the impact with the ball, the inside of that has rubbed against it and broke the skin. So that's what the little lump it first was, to break the skin. Was a little bit of blood there, but then when you looked at it, 30 seconds, 90 seconds later, then it seemed to just, it looked as though it swelled up even more. That would that would suggest that there could be a fracture there, and if he's fractured his foot, then not only is he out of this innings, he's out of this test match, he's out of this series. And that could be the difference, because England, like I said right at the end there, for me, if it's 264 for 4, and if Rishabh Pant is in, I think it's India's day. But with India, with Rishabh Pant potentially out of this and potentially out of this test match, and all of a sudden England don't have to get him out in the second innings, and you're effectively 264 for 5, I think this is England's day.
Let's look at, we'll find out a lot more overnight, we imagine. After all of their, the knockiness and the hysteria and the intensity and the drama of the Lord's Test match, we came here today and that wasn't really, that had gone. For now it will no doubt rear its head again, but essentially we had that first session. Can you believe India have lost a toss 14 matches in a row, by the way? That's ridiculous. Ben Stokes won it, decided to bowl first, and we all know the stats about a team never winning a test match here after bowling first, but we also know that a lot has changed in the times that cricket's been played here. But essentially the two teams set about that first session, and it was like much of the rest of the series. It was competitive, it was interesting, it was intense, there was a lot of jeopardy involved, and India did as India have done all the way through. They've batted time, they've taken the shine off the new ball, they've put on a partnership for the first wicket more often than not, and they get to stumps. They haven't scored a lot, 78 without loss, but both sides have gone in, and it was 2 hours of proper Test cricket. On another day, Chris Woakes takes a wicket or two, Jofra Archer as well. Castle wasn't quite on it, but essentially both teams have played well. It was good cricket.
I 100% agree, and I think you sit at lunchtime and you wonder what's going on. You always do, didn't you, at the break? You wonder what's going on and said in each other's dressing rooms. And I would imagine England would be saying, lad, I would imagine Ben Stokes would have said, lads, we've bowled well there. We've gone all right. The only thing I would say from a critical point of view is we probably haven't adjusted right from the left and right hand combination. So if we're not adjusting well enough for the right and left hand combination, we've got to stop the singles, the easy singles. So we bowled a touch wide at times when readjusting to the new batter. But apart from that, we put the ball in the right area. We've asked questions. We've had a couple drop short. It'll turn. It will turn. And that's what Ben will have been saying at lunchtime. If we keep the standards high that we've got, just sort of smarten it a little bit and refining areas where we possibly been a touch wide and make them play a little bit more. You know what? We'll end up getting 2 wickets in the first 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden we'll get what we deserved. And to be fair, Chris Woakes got what he deserved because he bowled really, really well in that first session.
And it wasn't kind of pitch where a team has been put in and you think to yourself, well, they've asked the Oppo to bat first. England have got to bowl India out an hour after tea. So even when India went in 78 without loss, you never felt any panic from England. You never felt like they were searching for wicket. You never really felt like there was any pressure on them to take a wicket. And it duly came, as you said. The first session went India's way, 78 without loss. The second session, and this again, it's followed a theme, hasn't it? Every time India seemed to just be getting ahead of the game, England strike. 94 for 1 when KL Rahul was caught at third slip. Manner that we saw just before the lunch break in the first test, just wristily flicking at a delivery, which was well caught by Zach Crawley. And then Jaiswal caught at first slip, and this in itself was a story. Liam Dawson, after 8 years out, and no doubt thinking his Test career had gone, back in today because of a freak injury to Shoaib Bashir in the third Test match. He's not playing if Shoaib Bashir doesn't break his finger, and he's in, and he takes a wicket with his second over, and you could just tell there was actually, he looked a little bit overcome with the moment when he celebrated. And that's why we love this game. It tells and continues to tell new stories, even with a player that's played the game as long as Liam Dawson has.
Yeah, and the thing what I enjoyed about Liam Dawson is he didn't have a warm-up over, he didn't have a nervous over, he didn't put himself under pressure by bowling a couple of half-trackers in the first over, trying to sort of find his line and find his length. At not one point was I worried or thinking that Liam Dawson has got his speed wrong or his length wrong. And sometimes you talk about Shoaib Bashir, and there are different ends of their spectrum when it comes to the education of the game point of view. When I said right before the game, Liam Dawson won't worry India from a skill set point of view. What he'll do is he'll bowl an end, he'll hold an end up that Ben Stokes can rotate, and you can hold an end. And what he did was that first over was perfect. It was on the money. It was quicker. It was flatter because there's not going to be any turn. So you had to use his angles to get it right. And then in the second over, he dropped a few a little bit shorter than length, still dragging Jaiswal forward. Then he gave him that fuller one to go bang, see if he can hit that half volley. But it was still at a good speed. And then he took the pace off and the ball landed in between. So it was like the fourth ball of the over, where he had bowled 3 or 4 on a good length. Then he bowled that big full sort of wide half volley, which Jaiswal should have put away. and then that one on a sort of a good length where you're not sure whether to come forward or you can play it off the back foot, and that's what got trouble, because the skiddiness of the newer ball, not so much turn, and the outside edge fell to Harry Brook. The one thing India did in the first test match against Bashir, when Bashir bowled quicker in the first innings, I thought Bashir bowled really well, because India, but it was possibly India didn't play him that well because they played him off the front foot, where in the second innings he bowled very, very similar, but they played him more comfortable off the back foot. Where now, new bowler, different type of bowler, and India really struggled on trying to work out what's the best way for us to play Liam Dawson, either off the front foot and get out there and get forward and try and smother any sort of turn, that little turn that's there, or get right back in the crease and play him off the back foot and punch him down to sort of long on, long off, or through mid-wicket from the left-hander's point of view. And because of his experience, because of his stature of height, because of his skiddy trajectory, it's very, very difficult to play off the back foot, worrying about the ball going along the floor and keeping low and bringing the stump, because he's always keeping the stumps in play. Where somebody like Shoaib Bashir, you can do that because you know that the ball's going to bounce that little bit more. It's going to turn. It's turning slowly, so you can get back to him. So for me, I thought he used his angles very well. I thought he used his pace very well, and he's mixed his lengths up, and he held an end up for Ben. He didn't bowl. I don't think he bowled a maiden, but there was a lot of overs where he only went for a single, and I think that helped Stokes at the other end. He bowled one maiden, yeah.
Nitish Reddy at Edgbaston, shouldering arms and getting bowled for one. Karun Nair, shouldering arms at Lords and getting trapped LBW. And now Shubman Gill, shouldering arms and getting trapped LBW is a recurring problem for India. Not playing the ball.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why. I can't get my head round. I could understand the Karun Nair one at Lords because he thinks it's going to bounce a little bit more. He's not took the slope into consideration. Bryden Carr's coming from pavilion end, ball going back down the slope. He's expecting 6'4" bowler, the ball's going to bounce, but from that pavilion end, it doesn't bounce as much and it skids on a little bit more. Now, I'm not sure what Shubman Gill was thinking here, because as I said on commentary, when you have a shoulder arms, don't you? You'll have the ball will pitch outside the line. Just looking again at Rishabh Pant, his foot, and that does not look good at all. It looks like possibly bust the sort of vessel that going down, the blood vessel that goes down the side, and the tendon. But that, for me, that's not coming back this series. I'll be amazed if Rishabh Pant comes back in this series. I've been seeing what I'm seeing right now on my screen from the TV lot. But when you talk about the Shubman Gill one, normally, John, you see a shoulder arms where it'll pitch outside off stump. The impact likely it'll be outside off stump, and then it'll go on and hit, or it'll go on and go down leg side, or go over if the umpire was giving it out or not out. But this one pitched in line. This one was impact in line, and this one was hitting the sort of top and middle stump. It was a complete brain fade from Shubman Gill, and we talked about it in the last innings, in the last test match. The pressure that Gill's under, captaincy, and then as a batter, he just seems to have these moments where, whether the pressure's getting to him, I'm not so sure. But there was a little bit of heat on him when he first came in, lost a couple of wickets, and all of a sudden Ben Stokes has bowled, if anything, it's straight ball that's going to hit middle and off, and he's left it, and it just defied logic on what he was thinking on. Was it height that he was leaving it on? It looked as though, because of the way he went with his bat, he was leaving it on height. He wasn't leaving it on line. If you leave it on line, you're sort of, as a right-handed batter, your right foot will be outside your sort of left foot, and you'll leave it and everything will go through. So you'll leave it a little bit straight on. When you leave it on height, your whole weight's going towards the ball and your hands are right, sort of more or less above your head. And that's what happened. So I'm thinking he's left it on height and just got it horribly, horribly wrong, because I didn't think it kept low at all.
94 without loss, suddenly is 140 for 3. It would have been 140 for 4 if Sudharsan, who was one of 3 changes for India, hadn't been dropped by Jamie Smith down the leg side in a manner that he was caught by Jamie Smith in the first test match. was the fourth wicket to fall eventually, caught on the pull at fine leg, but not before I think it impressed us all. You know, he is a player, Sid Monga, who's part of our commentary team, that he described him as he finds a way. You know, and he had 30 on the board, 40 on the board. He had reached half century. Second test match, first innings he was out for a duck. And there he is, and he did grow with stature as the innings went on. He didn't ever really get that fluent. He looked strong on the pull in front of square. He perished on the pull behind square. But what impressed me about Sudharsan was he found a way. And, you know, 61, he, like Jaiswal, hit 58, and Rahul, who hit 46. Possibly they're going to think, we got in, we should have gone on. Possibly. But we'll have to find out, because I'm not sure on this. I still can't really work this pitch out. It just looks like a bit of a pitch you've got to grit your teeth and score your runs on. Do England play like that? Joe Root does, but I'm not sure many of the others do. We'll see what happens. But how do you assess how Sudharsan did today?
I thought he played really well. I thought he came in, he hit a good pull shot first up, and which got him going. I thought the actual flick down leg side, it hit Jamie Smith rather than Jamie Smith getting across. I don't think he got his...
Yeah,
I don't think,
did he drop it? Because it kind of like crashed onto his chest,
into him,
didn't it?
It was more or less him, the ball hitting him. I don't think he got his footwork
it's almost
in
like
position.
He saved 4.
Yes, that's a good way of looking at it. He did save 4 with his chest. He was a little bit of a knock on. He didn't get his footwork quite across quick enough to then get his hands in a position to catch it, and the ball just sort of bounced off him. But Sudharsan, I thought, was quite good in defence. I think quite a lot of playing misses. There were quite a lot of playing misses throughout that first 30 overs when the ball was at its hardest. Woakes got it in a good area and against all 3 of the top 3. He'd be disappointed with the shot he played. He'd be disappointed because that's his shot, and he'd be disappointed by the execution on how he got out against Ben Stokes. I think that would be the big thing that finds it. And, you know, Sid's right. I mean, I've praised England because England have found a way to be 2-1 up in this series, and there's a lot to be said for that. That for me is one of the best characteristics you can have in elite sport. You know, you might have a technical ability, you might have, you know, a good trick and whatever, but if you can find a way of being successful, I tell you what, that's better than anything else in the game for me, because you are going to have more bad times than good times. You're going to be under more pressure, then you're going to be on top. And if you find a way of getting through tough periods like he did, the only thing you'd be disappointed is, I actually found a way myself to 50 here, and I've actually given it away.
The remainder of the day was kind of caught up with the conditions here at Old Trafford. It got very dark. Essentially, the second new ball was due, but Ben Stokes knew that if he took it and gave it to his fast men, then play would come to an end. So then we had this period of spin at both ends, but essentially Stokes got to a point where he thought, I've had enough of this. Signal that he wanted to take the new ball, he wanted to bowl fast, and the umpires went off. Not before Shardul Thakur came in ahead of Washington Sundar. We're not sure exactly why that's happened. He was another of the changes from the third test. And Jadeja came in and played another useful innings. So both of those are 19 not out overnight. 264 for 4. The second new ball will be taken immediately we start play on day 2, which will be broadcasting to you on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. In terms of day 2 then, obviously England, with that second new ball, are going to fancy opening up an end. They get rid of one of these 2, and then they'll feel they can control the run rate to a point, and with no punt to come, they're effectively 5 down. They could bowl India out for 340. Let's just say that happens. 330, 340.
Yeah, 330.
That's still a score, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do you
it
not feel?
Yeah, it's an in-game score. I think if you get between 300 and 350 in a Test match, it's an in-game score. I think what England have got to look at. I just wonder to finish off on the Sundar bit. I just wonder if they sent Thakur out with about 6 or 7 overs to go before the second new ball, to see if Shardul Thakur could get them to the new ball and not expose, because if Sundar gets out in that 6 overs, it's a little bit like a night watching before the new ball. If he gets out in that 6 overs, that's the last of the recognised batters gone. Now Sundar's going to come in with a ball and fight against the new ball, as opposed to being out before the new ball come. I just wonder if there was a little tactical element there.
Yeah, maybe there was. I actually thought Thakur shaped up pretty well.
Yeah, he did. I don't think he was in the toilet. I don't.
Sundar, that is.
No, Sundar. I don't think he was. I don't think he was caught short. So, but from England's point of view tomorrow, I'm expecting England to come out firing with that second new ball, and if they put the ball in the right area like they did here, they're effectively 5 down. If they knock Jadeja over before the, in the first 15-20 minutes, all of a sudden England might think we can bowl these out for, 310 or under 300. Because if you knock Jadeja over and Sundar over before you get, say, 280, 290, you've got a bloke coming in on debut who hasn't got an average. You've got a bloke on Mohammad Siraj who averages, 4.5, and you've got Jasprit Bumrah who averages 6. You're with a brand new ball in hand, less than 10 overs old, you'd back England to knock them over for 300, 310. That, for me, is a just in the game score. And with, I said it before, Jofra Archer batting number 11, Ben Stokes bowling first. If England are in a position where India only get 320, England will believe, right, with this batting unit, we can get 400, 450 plus on this. They only have to get 400, and that's the game done. If they get 400, 80 runs behind on this surface with this outfield, with 2-1 down in the series, the pressure that's on, I think that's a big comeback for India.
Okay, we'll find out. You'll find out if you follow us on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. Live coverage, myself, Harmy, Neil Manthorp, Jarrod Kimber, Sid Monga will be talking you through day 2, 3, 4 and 5 if it gets there here from Old Trafford. But for now, thanks for joining us on Following On.